Over the course of the Pokemon TCG's existence, there have been certain Pokemon that have been seemingly forgotten. I looked through the whole Pokedex and collected a list of Pokemon that have either had very little cards in the TCG, have not had a card in many years, or both. The main suspects of neglect in the TCG have been baby Pokemon. Mantike, for example, has had a singular card, being the Diamond and Pearl base set 16 years ago. But luckily for this Pokemon, it's getting an art card in the upcoming Japanese set Raging Surf, which I'm pretty sure will be part of the next English set, Paradox Rift. And that's pretty deserved after its huge absence. And that only Mantike card that currently exists from Diamond and Pearl, it actually fetches decent prices despite being just a regular common card. Probably because it's the only one, at least for now. Other babies like Pichu, Smoochum, Elekid, and Magmi, they've had a fair share of cards, but they haven't had any since the Heart Gold Soul Silver era, which was many years ago now. Chingling is another baby Pokemon that has had very little cards, only 4 in history, 2 of which are pretty much the same, just different versions of the same card. Its last card was 14 years ago. And the list of forgotten babies goes on, like a Zoril with only 4 cards, Happiny with only 6, though 3 of them were technically the same, Mime Jr. with only 4, Wynot with 5, Budu with only 2, and Bonsly with only 2 as well. Bonsly just got its first card since 2007 with the new Obsidian Flame set. And pretty much every baby I just listed hasn't had a card in over 10 years, and if they have, it's pretty much just been a singular one. Forgotten Pokemon are more than just the babies, though. Take Abra and Kadabra, for example. They haven't had cards since the original Wizards of the Coast era due to a controversy with this magician guy that for some reason thought these Pokemon were based on him. After many years, they're finally getting cards again in the upcoming 151 set. Then there's Rotom. Rotom itself has had many cards, but its unique forms have not. Every form of Rotom that isn't its normal form, such as the Frost form, Heat form, Mo form, all those, they've only had 2 cards each in the TCG, one of which was in the Sun and Moon era, and the other was all the way back in Diamond and Pearl. There's a few other forms of Pokemon that are very uncommon, such as Fall, Deerling, and Sawsbuck, which have never appeared, despite the other seasons all appearing at least once. The Therian forms of Landorus, Thundurus, and Tornadus have only appeared in a single set way back in the Black and White era, and Therian Enamorus hasn't appeared at all yet, despite Enamorus having 4 different cards. There's also Hoopa's Confined form, which has barely appeared compared to its Unbound form. Another thing worth noting is Starter Middle Evolutions. These appear much less than their final evolutions and pre-evolutions, because starter base stages are typically appearing as promos, and final evolutions also appear as promos often, and also ultra rares. The 2 biggest victims of this are Brionne and Quilladin, which is honestly kind of rightfully so, because those might be the 2 worst middle evolutions ever made, except for that new Crocolore abomination. Anyway, they've only had 3 cards each, while their evolutions have had 8 and 9 cards respectively. There's also just some random Pokemon that have simply been ignored in the TCG, like Tortuga and Minior, who have barely ever appeared. Then you have Calyrex. It's had many cards already despite being relatively new, but all of those are in its rider forms. Calyrex, Glastrier, and Spectrier have only appeared once each as individual Pokemon. Lastly, there's the Ultra Beasts, none of which except for Necrozma have appeared since the Sun and Moon era 2 generations ago now. Honestly, this might not be a big deal for some people, but it kinda is for me, because me personally, I have a binder that I'm filling out, and I'm trying to make the entire Pokédex out of cards, and it's really hard to fill in some spots just because some Pokemon are so rare to find as cards. Like Mantike, which only has that single card that's like $15 or so. Then you have some stuff that only appears as ultra rares, and there's no cards of it that are cheap. Some things haven't appeared in a long time, so you can't just open a modern pack to get the card. It's kind of annoying, honestly, but that's all I really have to say. So consider liking and subscribing and all that, and commenting, maybe video ideas or something. And anyway, thanks for watching.